Hey guys, what is going on? Kevin Cage back with another daily cryptocurrency video. Like and subscribe if you like what you see, and let's get right into the information today. And again, guys, this video is going to contain an introduction to XRP along with some speculation and some calculations based on a few market studies that I want to go over. We're here to learn and grow together, and I want to hear how you would change some of these formulas that I'm playing with. So to start things off, Michael Zischek actually made a little video response to a request I made to him, so thank you, sir. And it was about circulating supply. So as we know, Ripple XRP, we have a good amount locked in escrow. We have a portion owned by some of the founders of Ripple, along with the company, and then we have about 43 billion supposedly circulating. And he breaks these numbers down. Again, you can download these right from the source. Right off the ledger, essentially. And what we want to see here is he breaks it down and argues that it's not really 43 billion that is circulating. He actually says the number can be as low as 10 billion. So what that means is an XRP investor or holder is that it will really not take as much volume and money in the market in terms of net inflow as you think to move the price. So I know we've gotten a little taste. We saw, 10%, 15%, increase. I'm not sure how sustainable that is in the markets today. But long term, nothing has changed. I'm extremely bullish, and I want to break these numbers down. And again, guys, with XRP, I was kind of going back and forth with XRP_Anderson on Twitter and talking about, just this ocean of liquidity, XRP, even talking about XPool in the past. What would XPool be, that product they talked about? Was it really just kind of a shared pool of liquidity for everybody that's available, and it's kind of like accessing liquidity from the cloud? Only, that's just an analogy. And, is it really just a decentralized ocean, so to say, for all groups, meaning financial institutions, banks, PSPs like payment service providers, money service businesses that can all source on-demand liquidity when they need it? Now, this is a giant amount of XRP available for them. And again, it's my belief and Ripple's hopes, of course, that many of these groups will also hoard XRP to use. And another group I was, forgetting is exchanges. That's another consideration. But anyways, what I want to go over right here is this. So let's just say these top 9 accounts for Ripple holders. All right. So you can really say that this top one of like 17, almost 18 billion, that's really, Ripple, the company, and Ripple, some of the, first employees. Okay. And then the next amount, let's say, these two accounts right here, accounts 8 all the way to 51, 5 plus, 12. You can round it up to about 18 billion. Now, he believes that these account for exchanges, the exchange holdings, holding on massive amounts of XRP, so they're liquid to trade. And then basically says that the remaining, say, 13 billion here are, all the holders and investors. So he's making an assumption, this is Michael again, making an assumption that maybe 13 billion could be, cold storage inside cold wallets. Some of this is not actually actively being traded. Some of these are long-term holders and investors. And then you could also argue that this 18 billion between the exchanges, these two right here, you could make an argument that this is actually more liquid than some of these amounts. But if you wanted to, consider the 18 and this 13 more or so, you could say, 30 billion altogether in circulating supply. So we lowered that amount. And then he says that really not all of that is circulating. Some is in cold storage, some is lost forever. You get the gist. And so he's saying, let's say 30% of 30 billion, roughly speaking, we can estimate 10 billion circulating supply. Now, what I want to mention that I'm not sure if he brought up, and I highly recommend you check out his video, by the way, talking about Corda Settler as well. But keep in mind, there's huge amounts. I'm talking hundreds of millions of XRP that have been lost forever due to some of the owners and investors losing, and I'm saying owners of the XRP, losing their private keys. For example, Mr. Matthew Mellon, he passed away last year in 2018, and he lost his private keys to XRP for his XRP forever. His family cannot access the XRP. Now, keep in mind, this was, 200 to 300 XRP total? It was, roughly valued at, anywhere from 250 million to 500 million. And during the bull run, his XRP stash alone was worth about $1 billion when it peaked last, back in late 2018 or early 2018, like January during the final run. So again, guys, that is absolutely huge. So, from this in the math, he kind of broke it down. I personally understand why he estimates a circulating supply at only 10 billion. And if he is correct, that would mean it would take way less volume, way less money in these order books to actually create substantial price increases. Now, this brings up another point that I want to talk about. This is a study done by JP Morgan. I've had probably 2 or 3 videos out of like my 200 videos, and I've covered it in depth and detail going over the study. And essentially, it was when the cryptocurrency market cap was about an even $300 billion. Now today, the cryptocurrency market cap's around $274 billion, so pretty close, and this is just as at the time of recording. And basically what I want to say is that the $300 billion market cap for all cryptocurrency, they actually did a study, and keep in mind, that's just a valuation of what everything's priced at. They actually discovered that out of all of that money it was valued at that, it only took $6 billion to go into that market to create that valuation. So the total amount of liquid money put into this entire cryptocurrency market cap was only about $6 billion. Yet the entire cryptocurrency market cap, all the projects combined, primarily Bitcoin, was valued at $300 billion. 6 billion out of 300 billion. That is 2%. So let's just pretend that this ratio is correct. Let's pretend that the circulating supply of XRP, to be conservative, is exactly what CoinMarketCap lists, even if you don't agree with it. For example's sake, that 43 billion, more or less. So let's play with the ratios, though, and keep in mind, we do not know the true ratios for all circumstances. There's too many variables, but for example's sake, to speculate, we would need, for a market cap of 43 billion, we would need, $43 billion of a market cap with the circulating supply for XRP to reach $1, correct? $43 billion $43 billion circulating supply of XRP. So you need the actual market cap to reach 43 billion for XRP to reach $1. So let's play 2% of that, even though this ratio is not necessarily applicable. 2% of 43 billion is approximately $860 million. So we would need, hypothetically, $860 million as an inflow, that's it, to make XRP valued at $1. Keep in mind, XRP is built to transact trillions of dollars. This is not even 1 billion yet. Do the math. Not financial advice, but XRP will increase dramatically when it begins transacting more volume. We are waiting for regulations. We are waiting for a few other factors and gradually lighting up the corridors. We know that MoneyGram is going to ramp things up in Q4, so I'm excited for that as well. And, now let's just pretend instead of 43 billion, let's just say that the supply might actually be, in terms of circulation for XRP, only 15 billion. So 2% of 15 billion, 300 million. Guys, $300 million is all that's needed into XRP in order to create a $1 XRP when they're already sending millions a day. This is peanuts. When it comes to the world of global finance, R3 will send trillions. This is in other markets way beyond just cross-border, right? This is all based on a single study for entertainment purposes. I want to learn from you guys as well, so let me know if there's any flaws with this statement as well, because I want to hear any studies that you guys can send me, any articles with net inflow studies, but that one really caught my eye, and I know that, that net inflow study, at least by JP Morgan, went viral. All right. Next, we've all seen this example, but since we're talking about price, why not? So David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, pardon any punctuations, he types pretty, any grammatical errors, he types pretty quickly. But of course, he talks about a higher price, why XRP and Ripple, the company, wants a higher price for XRP. I know you guys have seen this before. Feel free to pause the screen now if you guys want to read this. And again, they want a high XRP price. So anybody that says no, they only want XRP to be $1, they only want XRP to be 25 cents, they only want XRP to be, $5, that's a joke. All right, so right here, and again, it cannot be dirt cheap. That doesn't make any sense. If XRP costs $1, they'd need 1 million XRP, which would cost $1 million. If XRP costs $1 million each, they'd only need 1 XRP, which would again cost $1 million. Except that higher prices make payments cheaper. Remember, they are a payments company. They're not a blockchain company. They're not a cryptocurrency company. Right now, you can buy $1 million house with Bitcoin. When Bitcoin was $300, it would move the market way too much and be too expensive to be practical. Now that Bitcoin's a lot more at approximately $10,000, you do not need as many Bitcoin, and it does not move the market the same way. All right, and again, so higher prices make payments cheaper. Well, you know what else makes cryptocurrency payments cheaper? XRP, because it's 1,000 times more scalable and 1,000 times cheaper than Bitcoin. All right, just wanted to share that. I'm sure many of you have already seen this in XRP community. Next, Matthew Linney. Wells Fargo enters crypto using R3. Again, the 300 plus banking consortium. Many of the same board of members on Swift. Just wanted to talk about that. And they are using a pegged digital asset, pegged to the US dollar. I don't know why they call it a stable coin, because if you're pegging it to US dollar, which is fiat, it's susceptible to changes. It should just be called a pegged coin. But again, just showing you guys that they're innovating, they're working on their own walled garden to create, operational efficiencies. We'll hear more about that, and we'll probably see other large groups follow suit. Now, this is the meat and potatoes of this. I want to share this again. So this is Hodor, one of the best bloggers in the XRP community. Highly recommend you follow him. And this is just an introduction to XRP he's done a while back. I want to cover a few points that I find very, very important for newcomers in this space. All right, so right here, let's see. First things first. So differentiating the features of XRP. First off, we have the DEX. This stands for, XRP's decentralized exchange. So right here, it's possible for you to create your own customizable tokens. For example, Hodor could create a Hodor coin if he wanted to. Well, you can also create tokens on other networks, whether that's Ethereum. The tokens on the XRPL, the XRP ledger, settle at the speed of XRP, or at the speed of the XRP ledger, not at the speed of these other much slower networks. All right, and remember, versus proof of stake or proof of work, proof of consensus with the XRP ledger proves to be much more efficient. All right, and again, let's see. Make sure I don't get too high tech. And another cool thing is you guys can actually, conduct ICOs, initial coin offerings, as well on the XRP-L. Another cool feature that you're probably well aware of is the escrow feature. And really XRP, guys, Ripple, XRP, the creators of XRP Ledger, David Schwartz and Arthur Brito are such innovators. They've been around, and they truly, truly, truly built this to scale. All right. And the cool thing is that they did not build this to only operate with XRP. They created all of these systems to be agnostic, so you can use Bitcoin, Ethereum, you can use any cryptocurrency, you can use any ledger. You can literally connect everything, and they want the best project to survive, period. If XRP does not win, it means they didn't deserve to. And they're so confident, guys. They've been around working their butts off 7+ years with this. David Schwartz was one of the first people to patent blockchain technology in 1988 and has worked with the NSA, or for the NSA. I believe it was contract work. All right, so now, using the escrow function again. So you can actually lock away XRP for a specified amount of time until a future date or condition is met. This is almost like a smart contract feature. It's true automation. And there's nothing you can do to change it. The XRP is locked away, becomes inaccessible to the future, or, until the user says and when they input that future date. Just like Ripple locked away the remaining amount that is locked up. There's nothing they can do. They cannot manipulate price. It is locked up, and they are redistributing it via a smart contract to grow the ecosystem and reinvest. Period. All right, another high-tech option is payment channel transactions. So we know XRP's ledger, the native speed, can process 1,500 transactions per second, better known as TPS, if each transaction is conducted on ledger. So that's on-chain. Right now, it can go a lot faster. Keep in mind, 1,500 transactions per second versus Bitcoin's 6 per second. All right, and the cost is a lot slower. You get the gist. Then off-chain, that's a whole nother ballgame. It is much faster. Even right here, Visa can process any number of transactions limited only by the hardware they're running, along with how fast they can create and verify cryptographic signatures. And as we can see right here, and you guys can read the links as well. I always do. Research has demonstrated the ability to create over 100,000 signatures per second and to verify over 70,000 per second on commodity hardware back in 2011. That's huge. All right, ILP transactions. This is going to be a game changer. So we got smart contracts. We have ILP, interledger protocol, like interoperability protocols, and then we have blockchain, which would be the XRP ledger. These three components are going to create the true Internet of Value. So right here, ILP, which is a way for various encapsulated ledgers to communicate. So interledger to bridge these ledgers together. And it's using a standard payment format. So the protocol uses connectors to scale horizontally and communicate payment packets with extremely low latency. Using ILP and XRP together, better known as the secret sauce of Ripple. And the CEO of Coil, Stephen Thomas, former CTO of Ripple, has stated that his team is able to scale much further. With the technologies we've helped build at Ripple, XRP, and Interledger, we can process trillions of transactions per second without any central authority. There's a method to the madness. Many people invested in Ethereum for smart contracts and, decentralized applications or Bitcoin. You can argue, but you guys have been facing such, false propaganda. XRP is not centralized. It is arguably much more decentralized than both Ethereum and Bitcoin, thanks to all the mining pools and proof of work inefficiencies, and they are building and making it more distributed. They are distributing various ledgers. The Ripple, the company, only owns about 7% of all of the validators. I'm sorry, not ledgers. I said ledgers earlier. I meant validators. It is without a doubt becoming more decentralized, and you can look at the hard numbers right now. XRP, the entire ledger, I'm out of breath, is easily more decentralized than the proof of work tokens, coins, projects. All right. Open network. Let's see. And again, the metrics, just for you guys to see, I know you're well aware of this. XRP transaction, 4 seconds. It's typically 3 to 5 seconds. Ethereum, 2 minutes. It can get slowed down as well. And then Bitcoin, you can say it's 10 minutes, 12 minutes, but when the network really starts picking up, you can see how long it can take. I've heard some horror stories of Bitcoin transactions taking 24 hours, even from the one and only modern investor on YouTube, one of the OGs in the space. All right. Right here, approximately 47 million ledgers. Actually, just recently, within days ago, over 50 million ledgers on the XRP ledger have been settled without incident. Bitcoin is known to have double spending issues. You can have all kinds of rollbacks on the ledger. XRP's ledger does not have the capability. The designers of the XRP ledger, even Stephen Thomas, actually recreated the Bitcoin code, and he said it was a very, very difficult code. He said that they purposely made XRP not have the ability. They cannot change, they cannot freeze assets, nothing. This is decentralized. Bitcoin, all it takes is counterfeit money. The NSA can literally take over Bitcoin anytime they want with counterfeit money. That's all it takes. It just takes money to take over an entire so-called distributed or decentralized network. All right, and then other statistics we already know. Look at the terawatt hours. It's horribly inefficient compared to Ripple, Ripple's product with XRP. And then decentralization, of course, I can go in depth and detail with the miners. But again, guys, this is on Hodor's blog, so HODOR. You guys can check him out. You can just type in Hodor or XRP blog. You guys can pull this up and look at these. But hopefully, some of this made sense. I want to, get your perspective with my thoughts with a true circulating supply of XRP. I want to hear a little bit more about your thoughts in any articles you guys can send me regarding net inflow studies. And I want to see if, my speculation is complete BS and why, or you can actually get behind it and say I'm wrong and maybe it's not 2%, of the actual market capitalization. Say it's, 10%. Either way, I want to bring attention that it's not going to take as much money and as much volume as we actually think. All right, guys? So again, hit that like button, share this video around, help spread awareness, and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.